Hi, I'm back, and so's Jelly Bean, although I think she kind of wants to get down. But I'm back. I had a post the other day on my blog about what we can do in this very weird time. And really, all I can do is knit. If you don't know, or just for historical purposes, we are currently in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic, and most people are staying at home, self quarantining, social distancing. I'm Dana, aka DWJ, and I am a college professor. And this was supposed to be my spring break week, and I've spent majority of this week looking at converting my courses to online learning, figuring out ways to engage, do things differently with my students for the rest of the semester, in addition to doing homework for grad school because that's still going on. Papers can still get written. But I thought I have a little bit of extra time. I actually had a couple people email me about videos and if I was going to do any more. And I really just haven't had time since that last one. I told you guys I was going back to grad school. I teach full time. It's a lot. But I thought, hey, it's crazy times. Why not give people some ideas of things that we can do? We can dip into our stash. I'm in my yarn room today. My husband's now working from home, so I'm not alone anymore. It's not just me. It's not just me and Jelly Bean anymore. But this is a really weird time right now in our history. I have definitely been self quarantining myself. I have a mother who is in the more vulnerable age group. So, because I've worked at a university and with students, I just don't want to expose her or anyone else to it. So, I really haven't left the house this week except to go to the grocery store once. So, it has been interesting. But I thought I'd talk about a few of the things that I'm doing and working on during this pandemic time because let's be honest, when you're in the house all this time, when you're doing all these things, if you don't have a dog of your own, it gets a little weird. I've been FaceTiming my best friend and my family a lot. I've had a couple people invite me to virtual knit nights. I haven't really done that. That's not really my thing, but I have been doing a lot of knitting. And so I thought I'd talk about a couple of things that I'm looking forward to knitting or looking through, or not what I'm knitting right now, to give you some ideas. So if you haven't seen, I'll actually post a picture too of what my full yarn room looks like. I got photographed for the Washingtonian magazine that came out this month in March. And it was the first time I think my stash has been fully photographed in all its glory. And it's huge. And I know it's huge. And I don't care. Because in times like this, I've got everything I need. But lately, what I've been working on, let me put her down and pick up my project, is this very fun project. It's a West Knits. Also, my bag is a Miss Brown bag. Now you want to get back in my lap? Okay. I love rainbow knits. And I love a good Stephen West knit project because he really makes it so that you feel like nothing is a mistake. You can have lots of options. You can do whatever you want to do. So let's smush this out on the needles so you all can get an actual look at it. I have been working on the Stephen West Fantastic shawl. I'm pretty sure I didn't gauge swatch for this at all, because I didn't care. And as I started doing it, I'd always had the intention of knitting the size large anyway. And as I started knitting it and looking at other people's, I said, it's a little small. So you know what I did? When I got to Jelly Beans behind you, this panel, I just upped my needle size. Might have been earlier, but this has been my saving grace during times of pandemic. There are lots of things, honestly, that I could be working on. My cousin just had a baby. My best friend just had a baby. They both want baby blankets. That's really boring to me. But here's why I love Stephen West's projects and the shawl in particular. One, each section is a different slip stitch pattern. A little something interesting, a little something to look forward to my brain never gets bored. 2, I am using all of the insane bright colors. And I didn't have a ton of fingering weight yarn, but all my fingering weight yarn is always somewhat into a rainbow family. So if you've read it on my blog before, there's a story about how my husband had a layover in Amsterdam and ended up going to Stephen and Penelope. So I incorporated, it's this blue, there's a little bit of white, and this green yarn are from what he bought me when he went to Stephen and Penelope in Amsterdam. This fun rainbow is from my Rhinebeck sweater. It's from Knitting in Color. I think it's Ain't It Fun. It's one of my favorites. And her online shop is still open if you need yarn, as are Stephen and Penelope. And the Stephen and Penelope colors are Undercover Otter colors. This hot pink is from another indie dyer that I love, Periwinkle Sheep. I know she may have closed down her yarn shop for a little bit because she was okay during the pandemic. This orange is a Nerdstring color. And then this super bright neon yellow is Madeline Tosh Edison bulb. That was like one of the first balls of yarn that I ever bought. And it happened to be fingering weight, and I had no clue what yarn weights were in the beginning. But I kind of have incorporated this into almost every shawl I've done, a little bit of it. It just kind of makes me think about my early days of knitting. So I would probably tell you, if you need something that's good and mindful to knit on when you're getting anxious, do something like this where it's a shawl. Try a new technique, a new stitch pattern. I highly recommend Andrea Mowry's, what is the shawl? I made a brioche shawl that had multiple colors. That's another good soothing one. I find brioche to be really comforting. I haven't been in a huge mindset to really work on a sweater, especially since it's warming up. I do have some Monosol Gore yarn that I was going to use to make the Joji Locatelli pebble tunic, and my hands just aren't liking the small needle size, so I think I'm actually going to make a rift tee with it instead, which would be great for this time of year because it'll be short sleeve. And I'm thinking about all of the time where I'm just walking around in my neighborhood walking Jelly Bean and not seeing other people. It's so weird. Other things that I'm doing, I've been going through my yarn stash and looking at what things go together and what match. So I picked up some of this Lion Brand Amazing Lace a while ago at AC Moore, which has now been shutting down, and realized that it matches really well with this Hedgehog Fibers feather yarn that I had in my stash. And I saw Christy Glass actually linked to a pattern where she used the feather yarn because of me and another sweater that I did that I'm actually thinking about doing too. That's another like short sleeve knit. I will link to that as well because the name escapes me right now. I have ordered a little bit of yarn online from some indie dyers that I love, just because the mail is still coming. Yarn is one of those things where I'm like, you know what? I'm going to buy a skein. I'm going to do a little something that I can for those who do this for a living. So I would highly recommend that you do that too. Other things that are great during this time. My friend Jeanette Sloan sent me this a while ago. It's called Warm Hands. And it's 15 different designs of like mitts that I can make. Because I realized I kind of need to start my accessory knitting in the summer. Because once winter's here and I'm actually cold, it's too late. Other things. I ordered this book off of Amazon a little while ago, Elemental Knits. And I'm actually kind of excited. It's by Courtney Spainhauer. And there is a brioche knit tank top that's in here that is screaming my name. Because it's brioche and it's a tank top. And I love it in a tank top. But these are some really beautiful designs. And you can order it on Amazon. Get the hard copy book. They'll still deliver. I've also never came online and talked about Harry Potter knits. And I'm very excited and proud that my very first published patterns are actually in this book. And what's funny is, so I created 2 things for this book. I created the buckwheat pullover. Sorry, my ring light is kind of bouncing off of it. I created the Buckbeak pullover, which you remember Gay from Gigi Made It Knit, if you follow her on Instagram. And then I also created the capelet that mimics what Fleur wore in the movies. Both of those I knit in sample sizes and not in my size. So I have time. I might actually knit myself a Buckbeak pullover. But it won't be in shades of gray. It'll probably be in some crazy rainbow color pattern because that's what I do. And I always have sweater quantities of yarn in my house. I do. But really, I thought I would do a video just saying, hey, we're not alone. This is what we do. Don't feel bad if you have an anxiety attack or if this is stressing you out. Us staying inside and staying at home helps to reduce the spread of this virus to vulnerable populations, to people who are over the age of 70, to really young babies. I can only sit here and think about my friends who have newborn children or my mother who's over 70 that I wouldn't want the virus to be passed on to people that I love. So I'm keeping my butt inside. And I am knitting and I am snuggling Jelly Bean, and I'm hoping that you're doing the same, that you are knitting, that you are spending your time watching YouTube videos, learning a new technique. Hey, now is the time for you to learn brioche stitch. It's something you wanted to do, right? Or maybe now is the time that you say, I'm going to spend the $10 and buy that class where I can go through and learn how to knit a sweater. But now is the time for us to really think about people beyond us and think about how we can make life better and hope that we can stop the curve of the coronavirus. So I'm doing my part by hopefully making a little video that was short enough to make you think about it and to stay inside. So let's keep on knitting, okay? And if you want, share your links to projects that you're knitting in the comments. I love to see what people are making. I'm not really doing any virtual knit nights, but I know there are a bunch that are around. So join a virtual knit night. Start a knit night. Do an Instagram live with your friends and knit with them. But figure out a way for all of us to stay inside. I hope that you wash your hands, that you stay healthy, and that you're okay. All right? Stay safe, everybody. And hey, who knows? I'm stuck inside long enough. There may be more videos to come.